Charlie, you ever play poker? On occasion.
Well, let me give you a word of advice.
Always bet on.
Welcome back, everybody, to my YouTube channel, and we are finally back to the live poker vlogs. Today, what I have for you is my first live cash game session of 2022. I'm taking you back to Benson, Pennsylvania, Parx Casino, and our first session is going to be some 2-5 again. It's a Tuesday night, and I was going to play some 10-10, but I was like, man, I know I'm going to be a bit rusty. So I still hope that you enjoy this video. It felt great to get back into the live poker streets and to have some vlog content for you. And if you'd like to check out my website, betondrew.com, I have all my upcoming live travel scheduled there, my socials, and everything you would need. So here is to a great 2022, more poker vlogs coming at you in the future, and let's get to it. 2-5, Benson, Pennsylvania, Parx Casino, coming at you.
Swoosh.
All right, what's going on, everyone? We're back for our first live poker session of 2022. It's been a minute since I've recorded one of these vlogs, so I might be a little bit rusty, but okay. But we are at Parx Casino in Benson, Pennsylvania. We're gonna play some 2-5 tonight, and yeah, just kind of knock the rust off a little bit. Hopefully it goes well, but let's get to it. After folding for about 30 minutes, I finally wake up with a hand in the small blind. I pocket kings, and there is an early position open to 15, middle position 3 bets to 45. I decide to call the 45 because I think it looks so strong to 3-bet in this position here. But honestly, I think I should just be 3-betting it. This is a kind of a tournament thing that might be going on here, but these 2-5 and below cash game players are just going to be making a bunch of calling mistakes. If I 3-bet and they fold, it is what it is, but for all the times that they just call and I win a massive pot, I need to just 3-bet here. Anyway, I called and the big blind came along as well. Early position called. So we go 4 ways to the flop. The flop is 3-3-2 rainbow. I check, big blind checks, early position checks to the pre-flop 3-better, who makes it 80 bucks. And to note, it was a casual toss, which feels weak. One thing I noticed last WSOP, as I played a lot of live poker and was watching for kind of like some live reads, really the way that you put chips in the middle, the way people, especially casual recreational players, throw chips in the middle, it really, really does mean something. Because in my notes here, I made that they made a casual toss. That said, it was a low board. I knew if they had overpairs and I raise here, they're just not going to be folding. So I made it 220, and then it folds back to the C-better, and they just fold. So is what it is. We did maybe pick up a little bit more by just calling, getting the big blind in early position to call, but we do take down this pot. All right, in this hand here, we have pocket sixes in the hijack. There's an under the gun limp, middle position limp. I over limp with the sixes, small blind calls, and the big blind checks. So we go 100 ways to the flop here. And the flop comes 8-8-4 rainbow. And it checks to me, and then into a $25 pot, I make it 10 bucks. And we get folds to the other gun who just calls. So now we are heads up going to the turn. The turn is a queen of hearts, so now we get a backdoor flush draw coming in. Early position checks. I make it 20 bucks into a pot of about 45. Half pot. I'm betting here about half pot. Still wanting to get called by a 4, maybe a straight draw, even though it's a bit less likely that they have a straight draw considering I pocket sixes here. I block the 6, 7, 5, 6. Hoping maybe they have like 3s or deuces too. If I bet small enough, they can continue with those hands as well. I do get called on the turn, and then the river comes a blank deuce, nothing deuce. He checks, and then at this point, I don't think I can get value from a 4 again, really. I'd have to feel like bet small. So I just decide to check here, and our opponent in early position shows aces. I'm like, oh, that's funny. Welcome back to live poker. We lose this pot.
What?
Hello, ladies.
Here we have pocket queens under the gun, and I didn't actually have my phone out at first. I was taking notes, so we're picking it up. As you see, I have my $15 raise out, and then +2 makes it 45. Folds back around to me, and I don't love 4-betting here. Again, it just looks kind of super strong, and this might be a tournament thing, but like I said, we're in early position. I just decided to call and hopefully keep their range wide, and so I call the 45, and we go to a flop. Flop comes deuce, deuce, 8 rainbow. I check, of course, to the raiser. He throws out a black chip and announces 30 bucks. So I call. He's betting about a third of the size of the pot here. And then we go to the turn. The turn is a nothing 5. And I'm going to check again. Basically planning on just check calling down here. And to my surprise, they actually check. So now at this point, I'm putting them on maybe an ace-king, maybe ace-jack, king-queen. I don't know if they're going to be 3-betting something like jack-10 suited here, kind of a random 2-5 player. So we go to the river, and the river is a king. Now, I take a second and think about this one because I kind of hate it. The ace-king, potentially king-queen hands that they might have, maybe king-jack suited. We were deep enough that I think that they could be 3-betting some suited Broadway-type hands. Maybe jack-10 suited might bluff this card. I think for a second, though, and basically after they bet and check turn, I think that they don't have 9s, 10s, maybe even 7s, any like worse hands that could really call a bet here. So they either got there with ace-king versus me and I'm value towning myself, or I kind of need to be bluff catching. So it felt like a little bit of a weird spot for me. So I did end up checking, and then they checked as well, and I ended up tabling the winner after they folded. I didn't get to see what they had. I had to show first, but we pick up a pot here and we move on to the next one. Here I look down at king jack offsuit middle position. I raise it up to 15 bucks. It folds around to the small blind. They call and we go heads up to the flop. Flop comes queen 8 deuce rainbow. Small blind checks to me, and I make it 20 bucks here, a little over half the size of the pot, and they call. The turn comes as 6. At this point, I kind of do block some of their like jack 10, jack 9 type of hands that might be calling the flop. So they could have a queen X, 8X. They could have potentially like pocket 9, something like that. That said, I think I could bet the turn again, but in this instance, I did decide to check. And honestly, man, at this point, I think I'm a bit rusty with my live poker, my cash game play, which I knew I was going to be. This is my first session playing here in 2022. Hadn't played live poker for about a month or so, and trust me, I felt the rust. Anyway, we go to the river, and the river is a king. They check to me again, and at this point, I'm like, yo, nice. Like, we got there. They could definitely still have a queen X here. They definitely could have an 8X. I'm kind of hoping they have a queen X because this is a nice card. I think people will think that maybe I'll bluff a lot. So I actually bet on the bigger side, a bit over half pot. I think it was about 2/3 pot here. I bet 55 bucks on the river when I hit my top pair, fully assuming that if they have a queen, they're never going to be able to fold, and just really confident at this point. And they call and show aces. I'm like, am I in the Twilight Zone? Like, what is going on here? The other person had aces when I had the 6s. This person's just calling the small blind with aces. Like, what is actually happening here? And I definitely giggled. And man, this is live poker. Not only am I rusty, but I have no idea what these players are doing. And they're not even, you can't even tell when they have aces. They're not even 3-betting these hands or raising them. They're just limping and calling. Like, what is this? Live poker is so funny. All right. Well, I like to be pretty clear and honest with my audience here, my YouTube audience, and I was getting bored, honestly. Live poker, man, is so much slower for me, being able to play online with, you know, 6 games going, 5, 6 games going at a time. And live poker, especially cash games, you just have to play tighter. And honestly, I was getting a little bit bored. I looked down on the cutoff at 2-3 offsuit, and I'm like, oh, the skinny. You know, some of you might call it the dirty diaper. And I'm like, I'm going to play a hand. I've got position. Let's just get out here and fire. Do not approve.
Well, let me give you a word of advice.
Or, by the way, like, not suggesting that this is part of a good strat. So if that's what you're looking for, this ain't the hand. There was a middle position limp and a late position limp, and I made it 25. And we get one caller in middle position, and we go to a flop. The flop is Queen Jack 6 rainbow. Checks to me. I continue here. I bet 20 bucks, thinking that I'll get all of their smaller pairs to fold, the random ace-x suited. So, you know, this isn't bad. I don't mind it. I bet 20 bucks. They call, and at this point, man, you know what? If you're gonna play a hand like this, I feel like you got to continue to fire. But the turn comes in 8 of clubs. Now 9-10 gets there. If they happen to have 8-10, they have a pair. They're not going anywhere. I realistically need to, if I'm gonna be playing a hand like this, man, need to continue firing. But I must have come to my senses or something. I decided, like, wait, what am I doing? I'm playing 2-3 offsuit here, and I did just check, turn, and then the river comes a king. He makes it 80, and I'm like, okay, I'm done. We fold and we move on. All right, so we are done. It was not a long session, like 3 hours or something like that. But man, live poker is so slow. And I totally forgot, like, having to fold hands and play tighter in cash games is crazy. But we ended up booking a $150 win in the 3 hours that we played. And I was just getting tired. I was starting to feel like I was gonna play bad and get really spewy. So yeah, I decided to wrap it up, head back home. But yeah, first session of 2022, we do book a win, and we're gonna head out of here. So until next time, thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this vlog, please don't forget to like and subscribe and drop a comment. I'm tired. I'll catch up with you later. Peace.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of our show. Thank you so much for watching. Do you like our boy Drew? Do you like our stuff? Then click the like, click the sub, drop a comment, retweet, share, resend, reshare, send the freaking ravens, let's freaking go. Thank yous, and have a good night.
Are you still there? Are you still there? Are you still